Yeah, it is apparently live. Let's setting it up for live. Possibly. Did I? Okay. That's fine. So get everything going here, guys. We'll let some people load in. I still have to get Shayne and Joey online queued here. Welcome, everybody. Let's get Shayne in here. Hey, Shayne, we're already live, bud. Oh, can't hear you.
There we go.
There you go. Now I can hear you. How you doing? Yeah, not too bad.
Well, it'll be a couple minutes here after I think we told him 2, so we're still about 6 minutes early, but so
okay. Yeah, no problem. And we're on live, just so you know. So
no worries. So it's all good. This is a neat setup that you can stream the Zoom call into your Facebook live feed. That's pretty neat.
Absolutely. There's Joey. Here, let me bring him in. Should be on in a second here.
There you are, partner.
Nope, I don't see him. You see him?
Yeah, I see Joey. Joey, your mic's on mute. Yeah, mic's on mute. There you go.
There we go.
Joey had to go to
Hey, Joey.
and put out a couple of pallets. So Joey, this is Jim from NiceRink's. So I think you guys met in Minnesota, correct?
Yeah, briefly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
LPH show this year.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So
is there a way to make it go gallery view? Let's try this. That might work better. No, I can see all you at the same time.
Yeah, I can see everybody too, so, on the gallery view.
Good, good. So welcome, guys. We had a little bit of time for some people to get online and get going. Super excited. As you know, we've known each other for a couple years. Shayne and Joey, I just met you guys. I actually didn't know your history of hockey and looked you both up over the last couple days. So cheers to you guys for great careers and having some extra fun with it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was fun to watch. NiceRink's been around since 1991, almost 30 years now. So it's been quite a run for us here. I know, Shayne, how long's Prosharp been around?
So we're on our 36th season. So, and with six machines on the market currently right now. So it's funny. We'll circle back to you know, the playing careers that you introduced us with Joey and myself. It's kind of cool that you know, after that long duration of staying or playing the game, we get to stay inside the game and give back in so many fronts with regard to Prosharp profiling. And then I know Joey gives back to his youth hockey community, and I give back to youth hockey in college and skill development also. So this is a great part about the game. And we get to have fun with it. And before we even go further, I just wanted to thank all the frontline workers out there fighting this terrible disease in what we're in right now, because it is it's a scary situation out there. And what we're doing right now to you know, just to talk about our own products and just to, you know, keep people appeased to the latest technologies out there as far as skill development, different training areas that you can do. This is the new norm. I don't know how many Zoom meetings are going around, but pretty much the Zoom meetings are going nonstop in my household with regard to education and my own businesses and my wife's businesses. So it's a different lifestyle, but something hopefully we can overcome. And again, thank you to the frontline workers.
Absolutely agree, 100%. I do some other group podcasts that we've been doing, and yeah, we for sure make sure to thank them and everything. I was actually thinking last night even too to have a frontline workers discount through the end of the year or something. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I was thinking about that. I usually do some specials in the summer, but I was thinking about just running it through for the frontline workers for appreciation for that. Cause yeah, it's definitely a sacrifice. I know the hospital workers, especially, it's amazing. So definitely a shout out to them.
Oh, for sure. I would jump on that train also as far as a discount for a frontline worker, because, you know, there's a lot of those men and women in the front lines there with in the healthcare industry and beyond the healthcare industry also. But they're doing this in a fashion where they work all day, and maybe even when things do open up softly, they're maybe mentally exhausted to, you know, to even take their kids to a rink or something like that. So to give them a resource so they can feel comfortable they're still developing their kids would be, you know, something that they might be interested in for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to touch base before you said that about you guys having your long careers and being able to give back, absolutely 100% same here. It was a complete passion play for us getting into Nice Rink back in 91. We didn't do ice rinks at all, but we played hockey our whole lives. I didn't get quite as far as you guys, but got drafted in the Quebec League. So it was up there pretty close. And, you know, being able to provide backyard rinks and, you know, all the not even skill development, just fun. I mean, I'm sure you guys skated on outdoor rinks when you were little, and there was just an article in the USA Hockey magazine about the hockey growing up is more about the memories than it is the games and the scores, because as soon as I read that, I could recall times, you know, we fell through the lake on a snowmobile. I don't remember what tournament it was or what the scores was or who won, but I know we fell through a lake on a snowmobile and it was damn cold.
That would have been so cold. Yeah, and to touch on that, we don't remember a lot of, like you said, the scores or who we were playing against, but it's about relationships and experiences and about living a passion, living a lifestyle, and you grow up loving the game and being fortunate enough to stay with it through our adult careers. I always said that I was allowed to be a kid until I was 30, and then had to move on to my next passion. But fortunately for Shayne and I, were able to stay, and like yourself, within the hockey industry and be around those people and those relationships that we've built.
Yeah, you're saying.
And you guys. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Shayne.
So you're saying about the backyard ice rink. It almost sounds like you are from Saskatchewan. Well, Wisconsin's pretty damn close, or it's pretty cold like Saskatchewan. But that being said, you know, Joey, I think your town was 450 people, if I'm mistaken, maybe 550. Joey?
Yeah, 449 now. I'm not there anymore. But yeah, very small community, hockey rink, curling rink, maybe a grocery store and a gas station. And, you know, the local bar is just a very small, tight-knit community that's very competitive. And that's what we did. We were always playing something, always being competitive. So it was a lot of fun.
And that's the same for my small town in Saskatchewan, Pataquid. It was a town of 200 people. So that's what we did. And you see a lot of, you know, pressure with parents putting on the kids as far as making it. We had no desire to make pro hockey. We just played hockey. And, you know, when you become a certain age and all of a sudden people start talking about this guy and the next guy, and this guy's good in this town, and then the pipeline kind of gets smaller. But the only reason we got there was because of the backyard rinks, the ponds, the small community rinks, and just overall support for the whole hockey community. And much like you said, I drove the skidoos, but we were always told to stay off the lake. So I didn't have to drive any skidoos through the ice surface. But there are a lot of stories up in my neck of the woods of that happening.
So comparatively, my town is huge to your guys's. We have 4,000.
Oh, that's a big.
Yeah, we're a very small town. We have one three-way stop in town, and for us, and I've said to lots of people over the years that I was definitely born in the wrong country, because you know, if I was a Canadian boy, I would have been playing hockey the same way. And our closest rink, even to this day, is still 35 minutes away from our house. So, and being in a small town, you guys probably don't have a rink that close. But yeah, organized hockey was further away, and it's probably one of the reasons why I started Nice Rink, because I wanted to get my 1-year-old son and my kids on the rink, and there was nowhere to. I mean, you could go, but a 35-minute drive for a 1-year-old isn't very economically or fun feasibly wise. So put some ice in the backyard, drop them out, bring them back in 10 minutes later, and you're good to go. So just keeps it fun.
Yeah,
it's fun. It keeps kids active. And we talk about how much kids train these days. And people always ask me, was I on the ice as much as the kids are today? Actually, yes, we were, but it just wasn't structured. You just, after school, you went and got your homework done, your chores done, and then you were out with your buddies, whether it's on the pond or the backyard rink, and just totally being creative and building that inner competitiveness with your own friends rather than so much structure. And that's why having, access to a backyard rink or a pond or anything like that is I think was a big, important part of mine and Shayne's development. We just had the access to be able to do and develop our own skills.
So yeah, it's
and lots of puck touches too.
A lot of puck touches, and I'll just, before we continue on, I just want to tell a funny story about backyard rinks, because in Saskatchewan, right, and you have an unbelievable system, and I'll get to that in the second part of the story. Is in Saskatchewan, what my father did to build the backyard rink was essentially towards Halloween, we would flood the ground and just freeze the ground, so the ground created our tarp. And then you build your boards and brackets or your boards and your end boards and stuff like that. And you just fill that in with the snow and stamp the snow down, and you create your rink. Well, fast forward to pro, retirement, and now I'm living in Massachusetts. Well, I have probably a really earlier version of Nice Rink. I have the brackets, I have the boards, I have the inner line, the protective boards inside. But that's the first time where I ever had to create a swimming pool in Massachusetts. And essentially you create the swimming pool and you hope for good weather, and you'll get so many hours out here in Massachusetts, where in Saskatchewan, you pretty much are skating from, Halloween to March, where here I actually count the hours for my son to say, okay, we got 55 hours this year. That was a really good winter, so, yeah. But it's all because of your system, or else we couldn't execute that. Fast forward, if my kid was younger, I would love to have the plastic boards that you have coming out, but I have the earlier version of those boards, which worked out fine. But at this juncture, at 14 years old, I think there's still a place for it, but just the way kids are scheduled / overscheduled nowadays, and with school, and I don't think they just get enough time in the backyard. So I probably, if I do build it, it'll be for my daughter now, just to teach her how to, skate and be able to skate as adult, because she's a gymnast right now. So nice little story about how far I've come with the backyard ice rinks to different climates.
And even so, like you said, building up the frame with the snowbanks back in Saskatchewan, same way. I mean, we can do the same thing down here, just with wood boards. You don't have to use a whole system. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars. You can build a 40 by 80 rink with some plywood and some lumber for $500 and a liner. Right. It doesn't have to be this big, extravagant, expensive thing. You just want to, once you get ice is ice. It doesn't matter. And the kids, a 5-year-old kid could care less. He's not going to remember what kind of boards he had. He's going to remember, again, who fell through the lake on the snowmobile.
Right. Well, it's a nice story for you.
Going into that too.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Joey.
No, say again.
Oh, I thought you were saying something. No, I was just saying it's a nice story for you. What you've developed with the nice outdoor rinks, and as far as you've taken it to the pond hockey. You see all those beautiful pictures of lakes in Michigan, lakes in Winnipesaukee here in New Hampshire, and all the locations that the pond hockey tournaments are, and you have a presence there, and that's pretty cool as a company to to see your product grow like that. So congratulations on that. I don't think I've ever mentioned that to you, that's a pretty nice sight for you to see.
Thank you very much. And so leading into what you said about the weathers in Saskatchewan versus Massachusetts, we have a little sheet of questions that we kind of worked up here to our fans and everything. But one of the questions that you had posed to me is, why did we get into synthetic? And you basically answered my question for us. You know, the warm winters counting 55 hours versus basically 6 months of skating. That's sort of why we got into it. And did you guys both skate on early synthetic when you were younger, the early stuff?
I'm very limited experience with synthetic, just over the last couple of years, just trying different products and seeing different training methods out there, kind of getting more familiar with synthetic ice. You know, being Saskatchewan, we had more ice than we needed. We were kind of, once the ice was gone, we were on to other things and did other sports. But, you know, as the game evolves and training evolves, you just need more access to ice. So I've been on it a lot more with my kids and myself over the last couple of years.
I've tried
I know you do some training.
Sorry. I've tried a few different systems out there as far as synthetic with the skating treadmills in Calgary, Saskatchewan, and then getting into junior and pro just a couple times. But where synthetic was then to where it is now wasn't somewhere fun for an ice hockey player. Because you know, there was just not that natural flow, if you would say, of your skating stride. But I think in today's market, it is getting as close as it's ever been to mimicking an actual ice hockey stride. You know, I think, you know, you can attest to more of that there, Jim.
Yeah, for sure. And I know you were up at the show, you saw we kind of did a soft launch up there. That was kind of our first exposure of exposing our new synthetic ice. And you kind of came over and saw us gliding around in there. And I'm actually going to share my screen right now because, like you said, it's come so far that the glide on it is unbelievable. I just have to find this here real quick, guys.
Let's check that out.
Yeah. How do I get to it? Yeah, okay, good. So I'm gonna do this. I have it brought up here. Here we go. My Instagram page brought up. So this is a video we did in the shop here. And this ice is it's 2 4-foot panels wide for a little while, and then I made 130 feet long, but I took 5 strides and was able to glide 100 feet. So you guys will see that here real quick. Stride is not as clean as it used to be.
Yeah, that's changed over the years. That's for darn sure.
Yeah, and then I did a couple of them. This one actually has a goalie pad sliding on it, so this one's pretty good. I mean, that's leather pad sliding on synthetic. It's crazy. And then people were giving me questions about stopping, so I did this one the other day as well. So I mean, there you go, right?
Right. That's a massive change from where we first started, and you know, you kind of almost grip and trip over your toes because it was a little bit stickier. So definitely, what chose you to go with, get into the, you said you got into it because of the different warm weathers, but obviously you knew about synthetic for many years. Why did you choose to go down this route with this particular company?
And I guess, I mean, the warm weather kind of gave us a kick in the butt to say, yeah, let's get into it and let's do it. But we've been asked, companies have asked us for years to sell their synthetic ice. And again, like you said, you go on it, you toe dig, there's dandruff and shavings all over the place. And it wasn't good. And, my philosophy at NiceRink, if it wasn't good, I wasn't going to sell it. That's, I have like 10-pound steel shovels. I mean, you can go get a plastic shovel if you want, but it's just not something I'm not going to sell because it's not going to last. It's not worth it. But going with the synthetic ice, we had a chance and opportunity to skate on this, and my brothers and I and my nephews and my son, we all skate, and we had a chance to jump on this, and we hopped on it, and all of us, we took like 3 strides. We're like, oh man, this is different. So did some more action with it, and kind of worked together with the manufacturer and said, yeah, let's do something. And we have it, so our boards and brackets and everything already attached to it. We have an adapter plate, so basically you can have pond hockey anywhere. And when you mentioned the pond hockey tournaments, we're already in talks with one of the tournaments about possibly doing a pond hockey tournament down in Dallas in June.
Oh, wow.
Which is kind of how we got in touch with you, because the skate sharpening aspect of it, which I'm sure we're going to talk about here too, the skates do dull quicker on synthetic ice for sure. So in order to do a pond hockey tournament, we would have to have a line of sharpeners all lined up, because pretty much every game, if you're going to play a 30-minute game or so, you'd probably want to sharpen your skates each time. And something quick like a home model Prosharp, you can push the button, sharpen it, and be ready to go for the next game in a couple hours.
Yeah, well, that's something where we're diving into deeper a little bit as far as the actual numbers of coming from an ice hockey rink, because we recommend anywhere from 2 to 3 hours on the ice to resharpen your skates. Where we're learning more about synthetics, it's anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes of synthetic skating is equal to those hours on ice. So with that in mind, when you are hosting those type of 3-on-3 tournaments, very, very important to have a good sharpener and a quick sharpener to get those edges up to par, so your skates are performing in the proper way amongst the synthetic ice glide and grip and everything to execute your proper movements.
I think when you're just, what I've found, hold on one second there, Joe. I found when I'm just skating around, it's fine. I mean, I can skate for hour and a half, 2 hours. It's the stops and starts that, because you have friction on there, it's not like ice where you're shaving it up. You're gliding across and it's rolling the edges over. So that's what we found. But if you're doing hard stops and starts and really playing an active game, your 45 minutes is probably pushing the limits of that.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, and whether you're on ice or synthetic, if you're out there for performance, you want a consistency anyway. So to be able to, the ability to sharpen your skates as often as possible has always been, one of my things. When I played pro, I wanted my skates sharpened after every ice session, just because I wanted the comfort of it being consistent. I didn't want to have to get on the ice and how are my blades going to feel today? With Prosharp and having the ability to sharpen your own skates, why would you not take advantage of that consistency? So whether it's on your ice or on synthetic, that's something that I think every athlete that trains or anybody that skates wants, that consistency and that top level performance.
For sure.
Yep. And then, I mean, skate sharpening, how much do skate sharpenings even cost now? I haven't been that active in it. So it's probably got to be what, $8 US or so at a store?
Yeah, depending on what part of the country you're in, anywhere from $7 to probably $10. It's closer to New York City or something like that. But yeah, so it's getting up there, and that's where Prosharp, we've been in the business for 36 years, and like I said, 6 machines. But this is an area where we created the home machine, not necessarily to take away from the true art of the handheld customers, but people that might not have the proper time at home, that are in high traffic areas and things like that, or who have synthetic ice in their house, backyard ice rinks. This is why we created the Prosharp Home, a very easy machine, very portable machine to use. It's 19 pounds. You can fly anywhere in the country with it, any tournament you go to. And it's the great value about the Prosharp machines is how long our wheels last, and that's like 500 sharpening. So if you're dealing with a synthetic ice surface, very important to have the wheels that last a long duration, where you don't have to worry about buying consumables each week because you might be running out of sharpening. So that's where the real value of the Prosharp machine comes in. Not only that, but we can dive deeper in, and I like to do some studies with you, because we've done extensive studies with Prosharp profiling, and that's where we're really known in the world in our strongest category as far as changing the radius of contour. So I have a blade here, but the radius of contour from end to end of the blade. And we have about 60 different profiles on the market. I think 40 of those are specific to hockey. And, at some point I'd like to do another webinar with you to see how those actual profiles, and I can send you those profiles out, Jim, to see how those profiles work on your synthetic ice and the performance, because we've dove deep, with the performance on ice, and we know it works, and it's a huge game changer for players. And what's cool about the Prosharp machines is once your skates are profiled, Prosharp profile, is the machines will maintain the profile for 6 months, or what we say the life of the blade. So a nice little combination with regard to Prosharp profiling, sharpening machines, and the synthetic ice from Nice Ice.
And then even one of the aspects of the synthetic ice too is that I'm always telling my customers, make sure you keep it clean. If you have it outside, keep it clean, put a tarp over it or something, because if it's dirty, it's like skating on a beach on sand, and then it just dulls your blades quicker. And that even goes back to outdoor rinks when you guys were little. I mean, our parents used to say, don't skate on the outdoor rink before a game because you're going to dull your skates. Well, yeah, it's because it's dirty. There's dirt outside. There's dust. It's going to dull them up. So it happens faster for sure. So you're going to be sharpening more often, no matter what. I just did some quick math. I think the home machine is $15.99, correct? Before I give this answer.
Yeah.
Right. So that's 175 sharpenings at an average of $9, and your wheels last for 500. Right. So the machine essentially pays for itself at 175 sharpenings. A very active player probably would hit that inside of 2 years, I would say, wouldn't you?
I would think so. I mean, like Joey attested to, I sharpen my skates every day as a pro. And the idea is parents neglect, like they'll practice all week, and then all of a sudden games are on the weekend. So they'll say, oh, we play this weekend, so we better have good edges. I'm like, well, what about practice? Why not have good edges for practice? That makes no sense to me. So it's, you really have to look at the quality of the blade after each performance, because 2 strides into your game, 2 strides into your practice, you could collide with another player's skate blade or step on their stick and lose your edge. And that's what, some inexperienced hockey members might not realize, that you got to be checking your equipment every day to, keep it up to standard. So your performance, so you're giving your child the best chance of performing on the ice possible. And there's a lot of situations where I'll be training some kids on ice, and you see them and their edges are gone, and because they can't take a tight turn or anything else, and they're wondering why they're slipping. And I said, well, you just go get your skate sharpened. You need them sharpened. I said, when's the last time? Oh, 2 weeks ago. I said, well, you should be sharpening your skates minimum every 2-3 hours. So you try to educate as you're teaching the kids the skills too, but because it's frustrating even as a coach, because you're trying to make the kids better, but when they're not stepping on the ice, the synthetic ice with the proper tools, it's not easy to do your job.
Yeah, and if you're taking a hard turn with a dull skate, you lose that confidence in doing those moves too.
Yeah, for sure. So
absolutely, you're not giving 100% to your skating, and that's what kind of blows our mind sometimes. Like Shayne said, some people coming into train, spending a bunch of money into train, but they're not even starting off with the proper tools. There's been so much neglect to, I guess, the skate blades and the only tool that you have in your hockey bag that you use 100% of the time. So it's kind of our passion to make sure that you pay attention to that, whether how sharp it is just to start, or what shape of blade you have to be able to perform out there.
For sure. I'm just going to break in real quick too for anybody that's watching out there. If you have questions, I have somebody watching the questions and the comments come through. So if anybody has a question while we're rolling along here, it's on a slight delay, probably 30 seconds, but we'll try to get back and answer any questions that we can. So please feel free to comment and question whatever you'd like. Just throwing that out there. And then when I met you guys up at the show too, we needed our skate sharpened because we were out on the show skating on the synthetic ice all the time, and it was like, oh boy, I'm losing my edges already, and I'm not going to be able to do turns. So I walked over, and thankfully you guys sharpened our skates for us because we would have been in trouble. Then when we started talking, I'm like, well, we're going to start selling the synthetic. We're going to need skate sharpeners. So that's how our conversations got going. And, we picked up a Prosharp Home model from you guys. and we got it in, and we had the synthetic set up here. And I'm like, oh, let's set this thing up and let's sharpen our skates. So I'm thinking, okay, skate sharpener, old school. We got to set this thing up. We got to calibrate it. We got to do all this stuff. We were literally sharpening our skates in 15 minutes.
And that was a nice story to hear. And that's why, when you said you needed a sharpener, and I sent it out to, to dive deeper into the synthetic and the sharpening capabilities and stuff like that, and that marriage of having that package. I wanted to do that. So I got that feedback from you to see how easy it is to actually get the machine at home, set it up, and have a consistent sharpening result. And I can give a 20-second demo here. I have the whole machine behind me, but essentially what Jim would have done is just go home, take it out of the box, take it out of the travel bag, set his skate in here, right? Clamp his skate, turn the screw. The machine has the ability to cycle from 1 cycle to 5 cycles, and it's just a matter of, I'll just do 1 cycle just for demonstration purposes by pressing the button. Okay.
Can you still hear me, Shayne? Yeah, probably not while he's sharpening. Oh, I could ask you, Joey, does, when I'm looking at the machine there, he's got the skate towards the front of the machine. We've been putting it in the middle. Does it matter?
Just as long as your skate blade is below the clamp and the skate blade extends through the front and the back of the clamp. It doesn't really matter if you're level or not. The wheel's going to find the blade and follow it anyway. So just as long as you're relatively in the center, make sure your blade is below the clamp so you're not sharpening your clamps, and the wheel finds the blade anyway. So it doesn't have to be super precise.
Yep. So
as far as being.
Yeah, my question was, I noticed that the skate was towards the front of the sharpener, Shayne, so we've been putting it in the middle. I just asked if that made a difference or not, and Joey explained that it doesn't, just as long as it's there. We actually, probably not supposed to do this, but we left the front open so we could watch and see what happens and how it works.
Yeah, and but the toe, because you always want to finish from toe to heel to give that clean edge to it. And from time to time, if you're traveling a lot with the machine, it will need some calibration, but with Prosharp expanding to offices in Toronto and outside of Boston here in Worcester, Massachusetts, the customers now have in North America the support of the machines, all machines, service and sales. So everything's in inventory in the North American market, which people, I think what Prosharp really learned over the 36 years is, in each location they need the service and support. And that's what everybody cares, especially the hockey community. They want to know that they're being tended to and taken care of. So, and we've been trying to do a good job with that. Granted, we do have 6 machines on the market that we're supporting the customers with. So, but we're excited. This is, we got a good staff. We got all hockey people behind us. Everybody who is on the North American team are all, ex-hockey players who've been trained, who go over to Prosharp every year. If there's something new coming out every second year, just to make sure that we're staying on top of their philosophies and that we're telling their story in a proper manner.
Yeah, NiceRink is going to be carrying the Prosharps as well, and we'll have the wheels eventually. We don't have the volume to do that now, so but right. We'll be, the Chicago, Milwaukee area. If anybody needs to pick something up quick, we'll have some of those items in stock as well very soon. And then you mentioned the hockey family too, and everyone's a hockey family, and I know you guys can relate, and so can I. It's like, I don't know, it's just different with a hockey family. Like, without even meeting you guys, and you went to a certain level, you just trust hockey family. It just, you wear the same color jerseys, and it's like brothers. And then when you're done, you're still like brothers, even though you competed so hard against each other as well.
No, yeah. Absolutely. It is a brotherhood. You have a respect for all hockey players and all hockey families because they've gone through the same things. They know it. Kind of like the hockey players, like fishermen, they all have that common bond. They all have that the same passion for something. So it's a very, very easy transition to meet somebody when you know that they're in the hockey culture.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had a couple conversations, actually, the synthetic ice one, and the manufacturer actually interviewed me to see if they wanted to work with me, which was interesting. But when I called, it wasn't about business. It was, the first question was, tell me about your hockey career. So I'm like, okay. And it's really all it turned out. And it was basically hockey. And, after that, there was a trust factor involved without even involving the business factor end of things. So we might have a question coming in here. Between my girlfriend and I, we have 6 skaters. Just got a Prosharp Home this spring. So far, so good. But I needed to calibrate the wheel slightly to make the blades even. Good to know you'll have consumables. So how's that calibration of wheels? Is that what the question was, Tatum?
Yeah, so the calibration of wheel will be, so we're developed, I think the video might already be developed in Sweden, as far as doing an old school cross-grind calibration test, but we also have a wheel adjustment tool to help calibrate that wheel. And then we also have a written document that customers can read. And actually, I just sent one to a New Jersey customer, and he said he was having trouble finding level. And I said, okay, so we sent them out the written document. And I said, please read this before I take a call with you to show him the actual calibration process. He goes, super easy. Thank you for the document. You don't need the call. So it was nice to hear that, the team in North America helped create that document, which was in layman's terms, how to, calibrate the machine in a proper way to make sure you're having balanced edges. That being said, it might not always be the machine. It might be the way a took is put on to the skate blade. It might be a bent blade. So there's a lot of different variables when you're dealing with skate sharpening that might give you, a false reading as far as, the result of the skate sharpening. But, a lot of times it could be human error too. So.
Oh, definitely. I mean, even back in the old days when there wasn't a home Prosharp machine, the skate sharpening room was like a tool shed. I mean, you had all kinds of benders and hammers and all kinds of things to fix blades, and you do the same thing on an old wheel. So I don't think that's any different than it used to be.
Right.
Yeah. And then one of the questions, and we can probably both address this on the synthetic ice and the Prosharps. You said 500 cycles on a wheel, 500 pairs of skates, roughly.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we had mentioned down here just talking about the longevity of the products. I know the synthetic ice we're looking at, we're quoting 5 years aside because it's flippable for a commercial application, but residential application, it wouldn't get near the use. So I'm thinking in my mind anyway, 10 years per side, and it's probably going to last longer. You'd probably be able to resell it when you're done with it.
Oh, wow. Is there a warranty on that too?
I don't know if there's necessarily a warranty on it. I just don't think it's going to wear out. I mean, nothing like we skate on it. We have it set up here in the shop as I just showed you, and we've been skating on it. And when we clean it, like with a towel after we're done, there's nothing. There's no shavings. Wow. So I mean, to me, if it does it like that, it's going to last forever. It's not going to last forever, but it's going to last a long time.
Huh. So interesting. That's good results especially for the home user. And just telling a little bit about the warranty and durability of our machine. We kind of, because it's a Swedish made product, everybody's very familiar with IKEA and what they call IKEA tests. I don't know if you've walked through IKEA. I know Joey has, and they see all the machines, pounding the cushions or pounding the beds, and that's their test. And that's essentially what Sweden did with this machine is put a skate blade in, and just have a machine just constantly pushing the machine. Well, that from my last communication with Sweden, the machine's 72 years old. So that's the machine's still running. And they keep pressing the button. They want the thing to fail, and they're trying to figure out the failure rate of that machine. So very durable. They run it in sauna. They run it in -40. They've thrown it downstairs. They've dropped it, and the machine will still run because it's one solid piece of aluminum milled out, and all your expensive electronical components are hidden inside that cavity. So it's away from the dust and debris and things like that. Joey, did I miss anything there as far as our longevity and the 3-year warranty it comes with?
Yeah, it comes with a 3-year warranty. It's very well built as opposed to some of our competitors. It's built by hand in Sweden, goes through rigorous testing before it's sent out. Once it gets to our offices in North America, we do another test just to make sure that, there's not a one-off during transportation from Europe. But no, a great machine. It's basically why I work for the company. I went to buy one and then started talking to Shayne, and then now working for Prosharp. So I was very impressed with the product before I worked with them. So it's an easy product to sell for me just because I understand how good of a product it is.
Yeah, and even when we were setting ours up too, like I said, it was super easy. And then I visited the website after our discussions and everything, and you have a whole slew of videos, and I believe on YouTube there's a ton of videos on there too. So, and they're very short and very precise and to the point. It's not like I have a 1 hour demo video that I have for my rinks to put it together. It's not 1 hour videos. They're literally 2 or 3 minutes on each of them, and that's it. Just this button, that button, do this, do that. It's real quick and nice and precise. So real nice website and video put out.
And you know why I really was gravitated towards this relationship and approaching you with some type of partnership where you guys could host the machines on your website and things like that, was just, I guess, the environment we're getting into, right? With I just got off conference calls yesterday, and I from my skill development organization, we're supposed to be opening up June 8th. If phase 1 goes well, we're opening up June 8th in Massachusetts, probably with 8 players on the ice and 2 coaches, 4 at each end. That's going to be a big overhead for parents to hit. That's probably going to be $50 a sheet, where I've never charged that kind of money in my life. I've always tried to keep it reasonable, $30, $35 to step on the ice, maybe even down to $25, depending on the time of season. But anyways, so and not only that, but those 4 to 8 kids, that means there's, less sheets, less kids on the ice, less opportunity to train, which, and I was the first guy probably, I don't know, a month and a half ago to call you and say, Jim, I think I need some synthetic ice in my basement, because, I don't know how long this is going to go on. And, I'm a hockey passionate guy, and, want my son training at home and shooting pucks. And that's what's so good about the synthetic ice is the ability to train at home, but also when things do loosen up a bit, you can have a couple buddies over and emulate or create those small area games where essentially, a 2-on-1, a 2-on-2 in the corner, a net front battle. That's hockey. My background, Joey's background is high level hockey, and you can dissect the game all you want and say, no, our kids have to play systems. They don't. They need to know how to find space. They know how to get loose in tight quarters, in coverage. And that's something where, a lot of your synthetic ice is going to be in the backyards, in the basements and stuff like that. So you can create those small area games, those small training. So you do stress the, your skill development, your quickness, your read and react skills, and everything that goes into the hockey, real hockey game, your net front battles, your corner battles and stuff like that. So,
and I was going to ask you guys about that too, because you went obviously a higher level than I did. And I know of 2 very nameable captains in the NHL right now that have the synthetic ice, the materials that we sell. And one of them has 2 4x10 sheets in the living room, and that's what they work on, small games on 2 4x10. So 8x10 area. So either one of you can just touch upon how important a 32 square foot area on the ice is to be able to maneuver mohawks, transition, stop, starts, things like that. It sounds like it's more important than even all the systems and everything is creating that space, as you mentioned at the beginning.
Well, absolutely. Like, the team at the professional level has 20 skaters on it. And you think about those 20 skaters, the more that they can win their one-on-one battles makes a great team. So I always, when I'm talking to kids, it's all about controlling your personal space. It's not necessarily about navigating the 85 by 200. It's actually winning what your personal space is and commanding your personal space. You don't always need a large area to train in. You just need to know how to control your small area and what to do when the puck's inside there and when you have combat inside that area. So when you think about it, all those 20 players, the more times that those 20 players win their battles throughout the hockey game, you're going to be a successful team. So every individual that can control their personal space adds to the team even more. So that's basically breaking down a full sheet into 20 players. And all you have to do is learn and work on how to, first of all, get to the space, and then win your battles in there is the most important thing.
And if you can win your battles and everyone else knows where their position is supposed to be, and you can win, 60% of your battles instead of the 40%, that gives you 20% more opportunity to score some goals.
Absolutely. A lot of people train on a bigger area and try to go fast in a large area. Well, when you break the game of hockey down, it's where the puck is. And if you can win the puck and win that battle in that small area to begin with, then you can take advantage of the open ice.
Yeah, and you watch it a lot closer when you've played at a high level. You understand all that. I was my son made it up to AAA and U18 AAA, and he had a coach from Latvia, and I thought I knew a lot about hockey, and I stepped on the ice, and we had a couple guys hurt, so I dressed in full gear as a defenseman, as a 45-year-old father, and trying to run his drills. I was the one messing them all up because I didn't understand what the heck he was doing. So it was quite phenomenal. And then just to talk to you guys, and the game is broken down into so many bigger or smaller pieces of the bigger game, the components and how it's broken down into little small area games is becoming so important, and being able to, going back to skate sharpening, control those edges and control your space. And it's just a lot about small games. I know, Shayne, you for sure do some training yourself of some players. Do you as well, Joey, do some personal training?
Yeah, I do. I actually have three sons, 19, 13, and 10. So my career as a hockey dad and a skills coach is forever going. So I'm always at the rink and always trying to not only to teach things, but learn things about the game as it evolves. Maybe some of the things I didn't know as a kid, I try to absorb and then pass on to the next generation, and just try to think the game a different way, think it better, train it better. So yeah, I'm always around it and trying to expose or teach kids new things.
Yeah, and then like when you're training too, I know when we were little, when I was little back playing in the early 80s, we didn't do small game skills hardly ever. I mean, it was all skating and lines, and it was old school hockey. And now you go to camps or tryouts, and even like junior A tryouts, and it's corner. They have 4 drills going in each corner, and it's a lot of small games and battle drills, and who can stay on their edges, who can stay on their feet, who has good balance, and is able to, make those small game decisions.
Yeah, so there's a lot of times with my college team, and I started out with the D1, and then now I'm the head coach at D3 program here in Worcester, Massachusetts. And towards almost at the end of every practice, we shrink the ice down into a small area game. And a lot of times I do this on purpose. And there's one particular small area game where it's just out of the corner, 2 nets, and it's 2-on-2 battle. And my message to the players is, whoever's going to battle, whoever's going to win the puck battles is getting in tomorrow. I say, I haven't made my lineup yet. So if you want to show me the way we're going to play hockey and win the battles in small areas where it needs to be done, in front of the net, in the corners, on the boards in the neutral zone, all these small areas. When the game of hockey breaks down, it becomes a small area game. The better you are at executing those small area games, and then number 2, knowing what to do to navigate out of those situations, you're going to be way ahead of the rest of the kids who are playing on the full ice sheets. That's for darn sure. And I can almost guarantee you every pro team, every college team, D1, D3 is shrinking, and going back to juniors now too, is shrinking the ice and making sure that they can evaluate their kids in a proper way to see, are they reading and reacting? Are they battling in a proper way? Are they finding time and space? And that's just the way hockey's gone. And what they did, what North American hockey did do, USA Hockey and Hockey Canada, is they went over to Europe and they studied why the Europeans are becoming so good at these type of situations. Sweden, Finland, Switzerland, Russia, they've been doing this for years. So we were in a situation you know, 10, 15 years ago, where we're essentially, you know, trying to play a little bit catch up. Our numbers are greater, so we should have more success. But, you know, to tell a country of Sweden with 5.5 million people and a country of, Sweden's 9 million people and Finland's 5.5 million people, how do they compete on a national and world level year after year against Canada and the United States? You know, what are they doing right? So, you know, people who've been around hockey, they started to tune into these types of development models.
Yep, exactly. And then, so going on the personal training and such as well, like nobody's been able to really get on the ice lately. What, like in today's training environment, people are at home. I have a friend of mine has a granddaughter. She came and actually tried out the synthetic ice, and they stayed a long time, couple hours, because, you know, they hadn't been on the ice, and she's like, this is fun, you know, get back on the ice. What are some of the things, as, you know, father for you, Joey, and, you know, same as you, Shayne, and the level that you got to, what can people do at home? You know, maybe some have synthetic, a lot of them probably don't, but just simple things at home that you think might translate good into getting back onto the ice and not losing something.
So I'll kick it off, Joey, before you can go, just because it's on my mind, and with the concussions, I might forget what I was going to say. But no, anyways, so number one, I like kids training on tiles, synthetic, whatever you want to call it, in their skates when they're shooting the pucks, because the leverage they are getting from being, you'll notice your kid, well, my kid can really shoot the puck at home with his shoes on. Well, yeah, look at the surface area he's contacting the ground with. You know, now put the skates on him, the slipperiness of the ice or the synthetic ice, you know, it's a big difference. So I like the kids training and learning at home with skates on, and that can go for, you know, the stick handling, just making sure you're have a stick in your hands, you're touching a stick handling ball. I think there's a good device out there called Green Biscuit that really slides nicely on this type of material. The pucks slide nicely too, but for stick handling, I really like those type of materials. You know, just getting creative on your synthetic tiles. You know, a lot of people think you have to have a clear shot. Well, clear shots are no longer available anymore. Changing your shooting angle, shooting through tire holes is a good opportunity to emulate coming down on a defenseman. As soon as the defenseman's legs split, you're firing through that screen shot, following up for your rebound after that. So just being able to touch the ice, touch the pucks, touch the stick handling balls, and keeping your mind, your head active, your mind healthy in today's environment, doing something you love and that you're having fun with. And there's some parents that go, oh, why are you doing all those tricks? Why are you flipping the puck up and turning your stick and catching it? Well, you know what I say to those parents? I say, you know what? A stick's in their hand. Let them enjoy it. Back in the day, I could do all those tricks, but there was a guy on TV, you might know his name too, Don Cherry, who said, why are these kids doing? You do any of those show off type of moves, you shouldn't even belong in the ice hockey game. And now you have kids scoring goals like that in the National Hockey League level. I think it's I can't say his name properly.
Svechnikov.
Yeah, for Carolina, right? I mean, we could do those things 15, 20 years ago. But because of certain voices, we're like, no, we should never do that, because number one, we might get beat up, or we might get, you know, denounced as a show off to the media. But now these kids are so talented. So when kids constantly have a puck or a stick or something in their hands, I just think it's a win for everybody.
And the game's so young nowadays too. Back in our day, you know, you come into the NHL, the kids coming in, they were 18, they were playing with 35-year-olds. Now they're playing with 28 and under.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. In times like this, I agree with Shayne. First of all, you want to make sure that your skills don't regress. You want to make sure that you keep your conditioning, so that when things do get back open and you are ready to be back with your teammates and back to the true sport, it's a time to be very creative. Like Shayne said, try new things. There's no coaches on you. You know, try new things, elevate your athleticism. And whether it's, you know, shooting pucks on your skates or doing all that stuff and being creative, you know, expose yourself to different types of athleticism as well. But make sure that you're always, you know, training hard.
And I when I was younger too, when the rollerblades just came out when I was young in the early '80s and such. The rollerblades are a lot better now, but I mean, you guys will probably agree with me. There's really nothing exactly like skating on ice. You're not going to get that exact thing. Skating on synthetic isn't going to be the same, and rollerblades isn't the same as getting the conditioning. But I always felt that skating, like distance skatings and rollerblades, was really good for my conditioning and striding. Not so much crossover and playing hockey because you end up doing circles and things. But I always felt like going on the sidewalk and doing a 5-mile skate was great for my conditioning for skating.
Yeah, the rollerblades is a very good tool, but just be careful when you're rollerblading in Saskatchewan, because this is a true story. When I was with the St. Louis Blues, I forget what year it was, but I was at the lake and it was 30 degrees out, so probably 95, hot as heck. But the way they patch the roads up in Saskatchewan is they use tar, right, with the cracks in the highway. So I was rollerblading on the highway, working on my conditioning. And sure as hell, I hit one of those tar marks. As fast as I was going rollerblading, I hit the pavement straight down. And if you want to see a body scab, so I broke my elbow too. So I was in hiding for about a month and a half before I could actually start training again. So people, wear your proper gear with rollerblading, because I still get the shivers how bad of a wipeout that was, rollerblading. And I'd much rather train on synthetic. I think the fall would be a lot less harsh.
He blames it on the Saskatchewan roads, but I think it's just his skating.
My brother had a story too. If he was here, he'd tell you. But I know it. He had a German Shepherd, and we all skated a ton like you guys too. And we used to put the leash on the dog and take the dog out for a skate. Well, the dog saw another dog while he was rolling down the sidewalk, and he had the leash around his wrist. And the dog took off sideways and took him for a fly.
Oh, that's good stuff. Yeah. So I wanted to tell a story there, Jim, where you were talking about, how your synthetic ice can get dirty and stuff like that. And this was a real eye-opening for me, even as many years as I played pro. I went to do a sales call actually in Wisconsin at the Olympic rink. You guys have Olympics ice surface there. It was in Madison or somewhere, I think.
Milwaukee, probably Pettit Center.
Yeah, Milwaukee. Sorry.
Yeah.
And I was doing a presentation to a bunch of rink owners there, and this other guy was doing a seminar there. I think it was a some type of coach's seminar. I can't remember. It was about 3 years ago. But anyways, this guy was on the board of making Olympic ice for speed skating. And I knew nothing about this, but you're talking about keeping ice clean. So they have special filtered water to even flood the ice for speed skating. They have a specific way for 3 Zambonis to flood the ice, so it becomes perfectly level with all the water, and the Zambonis have to be so far behind. Inside the Zamboni canisters are all in, and the water is held in a stainless steel compartment. It can only be like 15 parts per milligram of type of debris, so the cleanest water. So the idea of Olympics is to beat the next Olympic city with world records and stuff like that. So the fastest ice you can have is benefiting your athletes, because you're developing the best type of situations for them to perform on. So it was a really, really interesting seminar that I was able to be part of. And that's another thing about this game is keep learning. And that's what I've always done is, Joey played a long time. I played a long time. I never used the same training technique. I always reached out. I always wanted to learn how to push myself to the optimal, level that I can, perform at. So my on ice product was the best I could become. Did I get to where I wanted to be for the longest duration? Perhaps not, but did I have a nice career? Absolutely. And within that career, I had to change 3 or 4 times my training regime just to stay current with the young kids coming into the game. So it was, and like I said, even the parents out there, keep researching, keep finding, keep learning, because if you're not, you're doing your player a disservice.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to be coming up on the hour that we have here. So I just wanted to say I really appreciate you guys taking the time today. I'm looking forward to our relationship. If anybody's interested in the Prosharp, I don't have them up on my website yet, but prosharp.com, you go there and it'll give you a country selector. No matter where you are in the world, you'll be able to pick one up if you're interested in it. All the components are there, and you guys have distribution channels, I'm sure, set up throughout all over the place, so you don't have to ship. One of the questions on there was shipping as well for you guys. Does it come from different warehouses and things?
No, just Toronto and Massachusetts, and then also it will be all over Sweden. So, but we ship UPS free shipping 2 days, so customers get it in a hurry.
And the unit's very small. It's not, for those of you guys watching, it's not that whole box behind you. It's just that very top piece behind Shayne there, the skate and the small box. They pick it up.
That's it.
Yeah. So that's what ships, guys, just that piece. So it's real small. And for us here, the synthetic ice is online. You can go at NiceRink.com and just right at the top, click on synthetic ice. If you have any comments or questions, people that are watching after this, feel free to drop them in there. You can probably try tagging Shayne or tag Joey. You can definitely tag NiceRink or tag Prosharp, and we'll be able to answer those questions for you. But this will be sitting live on the Facebook page as a recorded session, so anybody can watch it at any time. Looking forward to it. Hopefully we can do this again. And thanks a lot for your time, you guys.
Yeah, I love doing this. This is fun. This is a new chapter in our business development as far as ex-hockey players. We're still learning this process of business, and this is another avenue where we're learning, we're getting stronger, because essentially this is one of our first or second time doing a webinar, but something where certainly in today's environment we got to get stronger at it. And I look forward, like I said, the next one I'd love to do with you and your brother or your son is get you guys on the synthetic ice with the Prosharp profiles. That'd be pretty neat to see and get your guys' results on that type of the profiles on your surfaces. So, but again, thank you on behalf of Prosharp and Prosharp Sweden for having us out, in Prosharp Canada. So it's been awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Awesome. No problem. It's a pleasure, you guys, and really appreciate it. And I'm sure we'll talk soon. If anybody has some specific topics they want us to talk about on the next podcast, please drop it in the comments. We'll make a list and try to cover what we can.
Yeah,
appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there. And thanks. Then, once again, peace out to the frontline workers, and thank you for everything you're doing and what you're putting on the line for the rest of us.
Thanks, guys. Talk soon.
All right.
Bye now.
Thanks, guys.
Catch you later.